Hi, my name is Ashley Littlefield, and I'm a current student in the Hospitality and Tourism Global Issues Graduate Studies class at Johnson & Wales University. I did this global operations analysis project on Marriott International. I researched Marriott as a publicly traded company in the hospitality industry, and in this presentation I will go over their backgrounds and operations, their annual report from the year of 2020, and the impact that COVID-19 had on the company as a whole. Marriott's background and operations. Marriott was founded in 1927 by John Willard Marriott and Alice Marriott. It was originally founded as an A&W root beer stand, and after the root beer stand, they opened the first Marriott Motor Hotel in 1957. This was managed by Bill Marriott, who was Jade Willard's son. Later, Marriott International went global, and Bill Marriott became the CEO. Bill Marriott transformed the hospitality industry with his leadership. Marriott has different tiers so guests can have a choice on what type of hotel they stay in when traveling. The three different tiers of Marriott hotels are luxury, premium, and select. Marriott's hotel chain also has 30 different brands such as the Ritz-Carlton, 4 Points by Sheraton, JW Marriott, Autograph Collection, so on and so forth. Marriott has over 7,000 properties located in 138 countries and is still advancing globally. Marriott recently expanded its all-inclusive portfolio with Blue Diamonds Resort, which was part of the Sunwig Travel Group's hotel division. This decision is expected to drive Marriott into the top 10 global all-inclusive players. The company plans to add 19 franchise resorts over 6 global destinations, which will increase Marriott's presence in the all-inclusive segment to 33 properties over the next 3 years, which means that they are continuously advancing new properties and brands. 2020 Annual Report. Marriott International's annual report from 2020 starts off with a letter to stockholders from J.W. Marriott Jr., Executive Chairman and Chairman of the Board, and Anthony Capuano, Chief Executive Officer. The letter discusses the struggles of 2020 with the pandemic and the passing of Arne Sorensen, former CEO of Marriott International. Marriott fought through many times of business slowdowns. The company battled the Great Depression, the 1990 recession, the tragedy of 9/11, COVID-19, and the passing of Arne Sorensen. The letter focused on positivity and optimism for the company to successfully recover from the pandemic and for travel to return back to normal. The main struggle for Marriott to overcome was the revenue per available room because occupancy was so low since people were not traveling. At the end of the letter, Bill and Anthony addressed their associates for being part of the family and taking care of the guests. J. Willard Marriott once said, "Take care of the associates, and the associates will take care of the guests, and the guests will come back again and again." Marriott is a people-first culture that focuses on taking care of their employees so their employees can take care of the guests. The letter also focuses on the diversity of the company and the respect they have for the Black Lives Matter campaign and the LGBTQ+ communities. In the conclusion of the letter, Bill and Anthony thank everyone for their support, associates, guests, owners, and franchisees, and they set goals for recovery for the following year. Now moving on to Marriott's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Marriott has a lot of risks and threats from 2020 that affected its overall performance and growth for future years, mainly due to the global coronavirus pandemic. Because of the pandemic, the hospitality industry was forced to shut down, only allowing essential workers to stay in hotels for a short period of time. Marriott also had a difficult time obtaining revenue while still having expenses to pay, which created a huge risk for the company as well. Operations were also a risk factor for Marriott International as a result of COVID-19. They suffered risks of losing occupancy for guests not traveling and employees who either got furloughed or were forced to work remotely. Overall, Marriott did a good job adapting and implementing procedures to ensure that they were adhering to any COVID regulations or guidelines. Marriott also faced global risks doing a lot of international business. They faced challenges following other countries' guidelines for travel because things kept changing and they needed to ensure that they were maintaining their reputation as a company. It was also challenging for Marriott to comply with constantly changing international laws for crossing borders and also importing and exporting products. Overall, Marriott had a lot of risks trying to keep their business afloat, both in the United States and internationally, but they did come out stronger in the end. They were adaptable to the constant changes and made plans on how to address any of the threats and risks along the way. Marriott is a very well-known company that got through this pandemic very well. But how exactly did they do it? There's a lot that goes into Marriott's marketing strategy, as they are one of the biggest hotel chains and the company is so well known. Marriott takes each hotel brand into its own consideration to target market groups. For example, Ritz-Carlton hotels are geared towards luxury travelers, where Marriott Courtyards are geared towards over-the-road travelers. Marriott uses the 4 Ps as a part of their marketing strategy: product, price, place, and promotion. The product is the service. Hospitality is a service industry. Marriott takes what goes into running each hotel into consideration with its product marketing. Price can vary for Marriott, as there are many different locations, tiers, and services offered at each Marriott hotel. The biggest factor for Marriott's price is the guest experience that Marriott exceeds for each traveler. The place strategy focuses on all of the different properties throughout different countries. Promotion is Marriott's actual way of marketing. Marriott is a popular company, and the brand name Marriott is a marketing tool in itself. Aside from word of mouth, Marriott typically uses digital marketing as its main strategy. Most of Marriott's marketing strategy is geared towards millennials and is advertised through social media. About 80% of millennials use social media to learn about a travel destination and decide if they want to travel there. 49% of millennials book last-minute trips, which Marriott has taken into high consideration with their marketing strategy as well. 58% of millennials book traditional lodging, and this is a result of Airbnb becoming more popular. Marriott uses these statistics to help with their marketing strategies. Marriott uses Snapchat as one of their marketing strategies, showing Marriott's new and luxury properties. They also created MLive, which is a command center where social media experts can see guests in their own spotlight. Marriott also has a loyalty program called Marriott Bonvoy, which allows guests to earn points on stays that they can redeem for future stays. Once enough points are saved up, you can redeem them for free nights or other exclusive offers. Even if you don't use points on every stay, being a member of Marriott Bonvoy gets special discounted rates. Marriott is continuously adding more ways to earn and redeem points, which is part of their marketing strategy that keeps people engaged. There are also different loyalty tiers depending on how often you stay with Marriott: Standard Member, Silver Elite, Gold Elite, Platinum Elite, Titanium Elite, and Ambassador Elite. Overall, Marriott has a very good way of marketing its brand and ensuring that loyal customers are taken care of. With the 4 Ps marketing strategy and the Marriott Bonvoy Rewards program, the company's strategic response to the constantly changing global marketplace is very strong. Impact of COVID-19 on Marriott International. The global pandemic of COVID-19 had a serious impact on Marriott as a company and the hospitality industry as a whole. The hospitality industry was shut down temporarily, and many individual hotels faced risks to prosper through the pandemic. Marriott had a very strategic plan to get them through the pandemic. Their main focus was reducing costs, focusing on keeping employees and guests safe, and maintaining loyal customers. Former CEO Arne Sorensen's motto was, "We will travel again." Marriott also wanted to maintain all of their loyal customers, so they were flexible with their cancellation policy and extended expiration dates on points for Marriott Bonvoy. Marriott also strengthened their balance sheet to make sure they were reducing costs as best as they could, adjusted many operating protocols, and focused on ramping up cleanliness standards. Marriott introduced a special program called Rooms for Responders that was geared towards healthcare professionals, offering free rooms in most COVID-19 impacted cities. There was also another offer called the Community Caregiver Program for healthcare workers and first responders to receive a significant discount on hotels near their workplace. The main impact of COVID-19 on Marriott was the loss of revenue and occupancy. In January of 2020, the company started off strong with an increase in RevPAR, but as COVID-19 started mitigating, the percentage decreased drastically. By April of 2020, RevPAR decreased by 90%. This was at the time when hotels were closing and the travel demand was slim to none. Once travel demand started to come back, Marriott still was struggling with both state and international travel restrictions. Enhancing cleaning protocols was Marriott's top priority to keep both their employees and their guests safe. Marriott adhered to all of the protocols, both from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization. Marriott installed more hand sanitizing stations in public areas of the hotel and disinfected high-contact surfaces more frequently. In each room, there were an increased level of disinfecting, but to make guests feel even more comfortable, there was actually a package of disinfectant wipes for the guests to use as well. The threats and risks outlined by Marriott in the annual report are still somewhat valid today. It has been 2 full years since the beginning of the pandemic, and guidelines have constantly changed. Marriott has still followed the CDC and the World Health Organization's guidelines on face coverings, social distancing, and cleaning measures. Marriott is still struggling with revenue and occupancy, but as people start to get more comfortable with traveling again, this will not be a problem for Marriott. Marriott is and always will be a well-known company, which will help them prosper after the pandemic. With all of the variants of COVID-19, Marriott went up and down on revenue and occupancy. 2021 was supposed to be the recovery year, but we had the Delta variant, which put a pause on tourism. The Omicron variant in 2022 definitely hurt Marriott as well, as travel was paused again. Group travel had a lot of cancellations in late 2021 going into 2022 due to Omicron. Now that we are pushing past the Omicron variant, cancellations have slowed and new group bookings are gaining momentum. Since countries are now starting to lift the travel restrictions, the overall hospitality industry is starting to bloom again, which helps Marriott as well. Conclusion. The outlook on the hotel industry as a whole seems positive. The hotel industry should see an increase in RevPAR and occupancy throughout 2022. Demand will significantly increase for hotels as many more people start to travel again, so occupancy will accelerate as well as revenue. However, the average daily rate of hotel rooms will likely increase as well. Personally, I think that Marriott will survive and thrive from the pandemic. There are 3 reasons that I believe this. The first is that they are a well-known company and are one of the best hospitality chains in my opinion. They just need to make sure that they can fulfill the increase in demand. The hotel industry needs to be able to supply services, which means we need to hire more staff. The hotel industry has been short-staffed throughout the whole pandemic, so hopefully this will change so we can recover as an industry. Without the guests, there is no guest experience, which is the whole meaning of hospitality overall. The second reason that I believe that Marriott will survive is because I currently work in a hotel now and know how much people are itching to get back into traveling. I work for a small independently owned hotel, and if we can survive the pandemic, Marriott can too. Lastly, the values of the company will help keep them afloat. They take care of their guests and their employees, and this alone makes a company better than the best. Overall, Marriott will survive and thrive once the pandemic is gone. We just have to fulfill staffing needs to meet the demand of our guests. Thank you.